We want to take you now to Congressman Adam Schiff. He's speaking in Washington. He's a ranking Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee. He says that the information presented by Committee Chairman Devin Nunes is completely unrelated to President Trump's wiretapping claim. Let's listen in.
The chairman will need to decide whether he is the chairman of an independent investigation into conduct which includes allegations of potential coordination between the Trump campaign and the Russians, or he is going to act as a surrogate of the White House because he cannot do both. And unfortunately, I think the actions of today throw great doubt into the ability of both the chairman and the committee to conduct the investigation the way it ought to be conducted. I have expressed these grave concerns with the chairman. I only learned about this the way that all of you did when the chairman briefed the press in advance of briefing his own committee members. And that is a deep, deep problem. I think it does underscore the importance of establishing an independent commission, a body that is fully independent of any political considerations, including those that may emanate from the White House. That would certainly give me a lot of confidence that in addition to whatever work our committee does and the Senate Intelligence Committee does, that there is a truly independent body that is looking into the grave issues that have been raised. Second, with respect to the intercepts themselves that the chairman referenced, those have not been provided to the committee for our evaluation. But on the basis of what the chairman has said and on the basis of my conversation with the chairman, I can say this. There is still no evidence that the president was wiretapped by his predecessor. President Trump's claims that he was remain as baseless today as they were yesterday. And they were the day before when the directors of the FBI and NSA testified that they were made without any basis in fact. If the incident today is an indication that after making the baseless claim, the president then aggravated the damage by implicating the British in a potential plot to have the British surveil him on behalf of President Obama, and now is attempting to interfere in the congressional investigation, again with the effort of trying to provide some substance to a claim without substance, then the damage, the wrecking ball of this allegation has just claimed another victim, that being our own committee. What I understand from the chairman is that he has reviewed intercepts of foreign intelligence. And what I understand from the chairman is there's no indication that that surveillance was anything but lawful. And what people need to understand about foreign intelligence gathering and incidental collection is if we are listening to two foreign spies, for example, talking to each other on foreign soil, or two representatives of a foreign government, and they mention a U.S. person, that is incidental collection. It doesn't necessarily mean there is a call from a foreign party to a U.S. person. Even the mention of a U.S. person is incidental collection, and that name would be masked. If there is a call with a U.S. person or U.S. person identities are involved at all, those names are masked. But there are proper procedures for unmasking a name. When it is necessary for the intelligence agencies to understand the significance of the intercept, and they cannot do that when the names are masked, you can properly unmask the name. The chairman has provided no evidence that any names that were unmasked improperly. And of course, without the ability for the committee to look at the intercepts, we're not in a position to evaluate whether the procedures were followed or were not followed. Moreover, as I understand from my conversation with the chairman, most of the names in the intercepts were in fact masked. And the chairman's concern was that he could still figure out the identities of some of the parties even though the names were masked. Well, that doesn't mean that the masking was improper. And so, again, it's impossible to evaluate whether there's any there in terms of these intercepts without the committee being able to look at them. And thus far, the chair has not provided this evidence to the committee. So this is deeply troubling along many levels. But among the most significant levels is it really impedes our ability to do this investigation the way we should. I've been part of investigations that were conducted properly when the House Intelligence Committee investigated Benghazi, and I've been part of investigations that were not, such as the Benghazi Select Committee. It was my hope that our investigation could be conducted properly. It's still my hope that this investigation should be conducted properly, but unfortunately the actions of the chair throw that very much in doubt, and I'd be happy to respond to your questions. Yes?
Two questions. One, what is the Democrats' next step here? Are you planning on pulling out of this investigation the way that you did during the Benghazi inquiry? And two, did Chairman Nunes reveal any classified information today by his disclosures to the press?
Well, on the first point, we actually stayed on the Benghazi Select Committee, though we knew from the outset that it was essentially going to be a political instrument to tear down Secretary Clinton's numbers. And of course, we will have to analyze what this development means. I do think that if there is any chance remaining for us to conduct this investigation, we need to do it. As I said earlier in the week, we could do a tremendous service to the country if we're able to do a credible investigation and at the end of the day provide a report to the American people that has Democrats and Republicans on the same page. But if you have a chairman who is interacting with the White House and sharing information with the White House when people around the White House are the subject of the investigation and doing so before sharing it with the committee, it throws a profound doubt over whether that can be done credibly.
Did Chairman Nunes reveal any classified information today?
Well, it's certainly inappropriate for us to be discussing whether specific people were the subject of collection or incidental collection to any degree that can divulge who the targets of that surveillance may be. So I'm not prepared to say that what the chairman said was classified or unclassified. I can say that it is beyond irregular to receive any evidence that's within the scope of an investigation, and clearly if the chairman is right about the content here, it's within the scope of the issues we're looking at about whether masking procedures are followed and whether things are being leaked. And I would say that the most profound concern here I have is that these actions simply raise enormous doubt about whether the committee can do its work. And I think that more than anything else I've seen, this makes the most profound case for the formation of an independent commission. Yes.
To follow up on this question, on Monday we heard quite a bit about, from several committee members, about improper unmasking of individuals who were collected in warranted surveillance. What is the fundamental difference between what the chairman did today and what the complaints were on Monday?
Well, first of all, with respect to what we were discussing on Monday, we could actually discuss concrete things. We could, if there were a specific instance where there was an unmasking that we were concerned about, we could ask the questions about it. Here we have no information about who was masked or who was unmasked, and indeed, based on what the chairman told me, the names were masked, apart from a single name, which wasn't necessarily anyone connected with the Trump organization. The concern the chair raised with me was that the names that were masked, he believed, were associated with the president or his associates.
Did he unmask the president today in this statement?
I don't know. Again, this is the problem. This is the precise problem when the information is not shared with the committee itself. We will be seeking this information. We will be evaluating it, and once we've had a chance to review it, I will issue a statement about what I think it says and what I think it doesn't say. But here we're operating on hearsay, and this is simply not a way to conduct an investigation.
Congressman, on that point, had the committee been previously briefed about the intercepts in general, or had you had any background knowledge about these intercepts? You say you don't have these intercepts, but were you aware of these intercepts? Do members of the committee have information about them?
Well, it's impossible to know because we don't know what intercepts the chairman is referring to. So, again, my assumption from what the chair said is that these are intercepts that we don't have. But he also said this doesn't relate to the Russia investigation. So if it doesn't relate to the Russia investigation, If they were lawfully conducted, and he said there's no reason to believe they weren't, then we wouldn't have them as a part of the investigation. Now, we have made a request of the intelligence agencies for information about their masking procedures. If indeed it's within the scope of our request, then it's information we should be getting. And if that's true, and I think the chairman indicated he thought that the information he'd received is within the scope of what we've asked for, then it's a significant question that if this is within the information we've asked for that the agencies are going to be delivering to us later this week, then why make this statement to the press before we have it? It just begs more questions, frankly, than it answers. Yes.
Is there any reason to believe, I know we discussed briefly the president, but just to kind of clarify, is there any reason to believe that the president or members of his family were people present in these documents?
You know, again, you would have to ask the chairman because he's the only one on the committee that I'm aware of that's been able to see this.
Did he express that to you? Did he say, I think these people are involved?
You know, I don't want to characterize precisely what the chair said, and I think if you look at what he has said publicly, it's not very clear because he's used words like may have been or it might be, and how can we evaluate the strength of that information? We just can't. And again, this just underscores why this is not how you conduct an investigation. You don't take information that the committee hasn't seen and present it orally to the press and to the White House before the committee has a chance to vet whether it's even significant.
What assurances did you receive from Chairman Nunes that the committee can move forward in a bipartisan way?
I'm sorry?
What assurances did you receive from Chairman Nunes that the committee can move forward in a bipartisan way?
Well, you know, I have to say I expressed my grave concerns about how this was handled, and I'm not sure that at this point we're likely to get those kind of assurances. Certainly we're going to have a much more lengthy discussion of this when we meet as a committee. But it casts quite a profound cloud over our ability to do our work. And I do think that the concern over Russian intervention in our election is one that permeates the Congress, and it's a concern that Democrats have, and it's a concern that Republicans have. And I have to think that most of the members of the House want a bipartisan investigation to be done. But this is not the way to do it. Yes?
Did Chairman Nunes tell you how or where or in what way he viewed these documents or was alerted to their existence? And also, you've said that you're gravely concerned and you criticize the chairman right now, but are you pursuing any sort of more formal censuring of him in light of what happened?
This is not a situation, I think, where you can pursue something like that. You know, we still have a very important job to do even apart from this investigation. But right now, the country is counting on us because in the House of Representatives, we're the only investigation there is. If we don't do it, no one is going to do it. Now, perhaps the White House would like it that way. But the American people, I think, want there to be a credible investigation. And if we're not going to conduct it, then we need to have an independent commission do it. And if the chairman is going to continue to go to the White House rather than his own committee, there's no way we can conduct this investigation.
And did he tell you how or where or what led to him being able to view these documents?
You know, I don't have a lot of details on it. The most I think he was able to say is that it was shared with him alone. So it doesn't appear to have been shared even with the other Republican members of his committee. And so all of us are in the dark. And that makes what the chairman did today all the more extraordinary. Yes.
Do you have any concerns about the way in which he got this information or who it might have come from? He said he doesn't have the documents in his possession, but he knows where they are. So,
you know, obviously there are a lot of questions. I mean, if this came from people within the intelligence community, then you're looking at sort of a channel for a leak to the press, which raises a whole nother category of concerns. If this is within the intelligence community, it ought to be shared with us by the intelligence community. I don't know if that's the source of it.
You said he also went and called the NSA, the CIA, and I think the FBI.
You'd have to ask the chairman. Again, we have no idea where these documents came from, whether they even show what they purport to show. But even if they do on the basis of what the chairman said, the underlying fact is still the same. There's no evidence to support the president's contention that he was wiretapped by his predecessor. So I'm not sure what the point of this extraordinary process is. And I have to hope that this is not part of a broader campaign by the White House aimed to deflect from the director's testimony earlier this week. But again, not having seen the documents, not having the chairman share those documents with either Democrats or Republicans on the committee, there's simply no way for us to evaluate.
Do you have any idea of how many names were in here, masked or unmasked?
I have no idea.
Dozen?
There's no way for us to know.
It seems like that the decision about an independent commission is in the hands of Paul Ryan. Have you talked to him about that, and do you have any plans to do so, if not?
I certainly intend to do so. The request has been made by our minority leader, as well as the entire membership of the Democratic membership of the House of Representatives in the form of sponsorship of legislation by my colleague Eric Swalwell and Elijah Cummings. So we have certainly made it clear now for many weeks that we ought to follow the model we did after 9/11, where we do an investigation through our intelligence committees, but we also have a truly independent commission. And there are two reasons why I think the commission now is more essential than ever. The first is that a commission would have a dedicated staff and resources focused solely on this issue, and an investigation of this magnitude really justifies that kind of investment. But second, it takes it completely out of the political realm. And today's events show why that is just so essential. A commission like the 9/11 Commission wouldn't have one of its chairs go to the White House when it obtained new information. And we just cannot continue along that kind of a path. So I think more than anything else, today's events have underscored the imperative of an independent commission.
Did he tell you? Yes.
Did the chairman give you any indication why he decided to go to the White House before he came to you with any information?
No, and that's a good question for the chairman. I certainly did express my concern that that is simply not a way to conduct a credible investigation. Thank you.
What did he say to you in response to that? Did he tell you when you'll get to see that?